This is the Brewers POSTCAST, your instant game reaction for the Milwaukee Brewers. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network. Your team every day.
Make it 9 in a row for our Milwaukee Brewers. A playoff type atmosphere win tonight in LA over the Dodgers, 8-7. Quite the roller coaster game for our Milwaukee Brewers. Freddy Peralta getting the start. He had a rough outing there in the third inning. We'll discuss his start. The Brewers offense, though, 13 hits on the night. They score 8 runs, just enough to get past the Los Angeles Dodgers. Lots to talk about. A resilient win tonight for our Milwaukee Brewers. Their 9th straight, the largest win streak now in the last 2 years for our Brewers, and 18 games over 500 with the victory tonight at 58-40. Hello, everyone, and welcome into the Locked On Brewers postcast. My name is Brandon Snide. You can follow me on X at Brandon_Snide and follow all of my work over at WTMJ.com, covering all of our Wisconsin sports teams. As always, thanks for always making Locked On Brewers part of your day each and every day. Remember, wherever you guys get podcasts, you can get the Locked On Brewers postcast as well. And also over on YouTube, just go to that search bar, type in Locked On Brewers, hit that subscribe button, hit that notification bell, hit that thumbs up. And as always, during the live show, your thoughts, your comments, your reactions, and of course, with an 8-7 win for the 9th one in a row, your celebrations are welcomed on the program. We'll get to all of it, including the player of the game, including the turning point of the game, and the things you may be talking about tomorrow after another Milwaukee Brewers win, this one by a final score of 8-7. The scoring summary tonight, 15 runs scored in this game. So bear with me here, Brewers fans, although I think you'll enjoy this one because the Brewers do get the win 8-7 today over the LA Dodgers for their 9th in a row. The scoring summary tonight brought to you by our wonderful partners over at FanDuel, and it gets started in the 3rd inning for this game, and it's courtesy of a big inning from the Milwaukee Brewers, a Joey Ortiz single, a Contreras double. Andrew Vaughn would hit a sacrifice fly out to center field, and Andrew Vaughn just continues. 12 RBIs now for Andrew Vaughn in a Brewers uniform, and he's only been up here I think 6-7 games. I think we got to, there's an all-star break in the middle there, but he made his appearance last week when the Brewers hosted the Dodgers at American Family Field and got the Brewers going offensively. So Andrew Vaughn with the sacrifice fly, that would give the Brewers a 4-0 advantage, but it would prove to be the rough inning for Freddy Peralta. The bottom half of that 3rd inning, the Dodgers would respond of 4 of their own. Ohtani, You knew you couldn't hold the Dodgers offense down this long, right? They had 3 hits in total last night when they were in Milwaukee over those 3 games. The Brewers pitching only allowed 4 runs over those 3 games. We talked about how great the starting rotation has been against this Dodgers team, a .75 ERA. You knew it was going to be impossible for this Dodgers team, especially their offense, the 2nd best offense in baseball by the numbers, to be held down. So Ohtani would hit a 2-run shot. Teoscar Hernandez would double the center. Freddie Freeman would score on a wild pitch by Freddy Peralta. That would make it 4-4. And if you're a Brewers fan, you haven't really been pushed on the brink, over this 9-game win streak, and you haven't really stressed. I mean, there have been some close games, but this one you just kind of knew. You're watching it. You're like, okay, 4 runs for the Brewers. The Dodgers respond with 4 of their own. And then you're like, man, I hope this offense for the LA doesn't get going. Like, I hope this isn't the one game where they get going. But the Brewers, to their defense, just resilient tonight. Every time the Dodgers scored, minus the 8th inning, we'll get to the 8th. Every time the Dodgers scored, the Brewers responded. Every single time. And that is the definition of the team led by Pat Murphy that he wants to play, on the field day in and day out. A scrappy, no nonsense. You're going to feel him. You're going to hear him. You're going to have to beat him in every inning. And that's exactly what this Brewers team did tonight. Every time the Dodgers would score, the Brewers would respond on the top half. And that's no different in the 4th. Issac Collins with a home run in the 4th inning. Caleb Durbin would hit a double to left. That would score a run in the 6th inning. Ohtani then, though, would single in the 6th, and that would make it 6-5. And again, you're kind of worried there for a minute if you're a Brewers fan, at least for me. But then Andrew Vaughn would respond with a 2-out single in the 7th inning. That would make it 7-5. And then we're going to get into our turning point in this game tonight. It's the 8th inning, and it's a turning point in an 8-7 win because it was the deciding factor turned out to be for your Milwaukee Brewers.
Time to reveal where the game was won or lost. It's the turning point.
Joey Ortiz, the solo home run to left field, 414 feet to be exact. That is the difference tonight, ladies and gentlemen, in this ball game. An 8-7 Brewers win. That solo shot in the 8th would make it 8-5. The Dodgers in the bottom half with a couple of solo shots would make it 8-6, 8-7 then eventually. But that home run by Joey Ortiz was the difference in tonight's ball game. That was the difference. Obviously a big at bat for Joey Ortiz. As soon as it left his bat, you knew it was gone. And it felt really good tonight for the Milwaukee Brewers because the bottom half of the lineup was producing for them, right? Issac Collins, we had talked about. He also had a home run. Caleb Durbin with RBIs. Blake Perkins with an RBI. And then Joey Ortiz tonight, 2 for 4, batted in 2 runs, and had the crucial solo shot in the 8th inning. And without further ado, your player of the game in an 8-7 Milwaukee Brewers win.
This is the Locked On Player of the Game.
There have been so many people, myself probably included, that have called for this Brewers front office, for Matt Arnold, to do something about the left side of the infield, including Joey Ortiz and including Caleb Durbin. If you look at the numbers, Caleb Durbin's been one of the best third basemen in his rookie class, but also in the National League over the last month. If you go all the way back to June 12th, he has been fantastic. But tonight's player of the game is Joey Ortiz, and it goes to the turning point in this game tonight where he had the deciding home run to get things going, but he also got them going early in that 3rd inning. He was the one that got them going with that single after Blake Perkins hit a triple. He's the one who got them going in the 3rd inning as well, Joey Ortiz that is, to get them on the board and get that inning going into the right direction. So for starting it, Joey Ortiz, the player of the game, and for ending it, Joey Ortiz is your player of the game. 2 for 4, 2 runs batted in, and really, without Joey Ortiz at the plate creating that solo shot in the 8th inning, this game may be going. We may not be having this show yet. We may be waiting until the 10th or maybe the 11th and so on and so forth to conclude. But Joey Ortiz, the turning point and the player of the game, the bottom of the order for our Milwaukee Brewers, produced tonight. It was fantastic to see. Absolutely love to see it. Their 9th win in a row, 8-7 over the Los Angeles Dodgers, and they have been doing it in different ways over this win streak. It hasn't just been scoring crooked numbers here, every other inning. Like, you won last night 2-0 and only allowed 3 hits, and it was a masterful performance by Quinn Priester, another guy that a lot of Brewers fans, probably still owe an apology to this morning, who has been absolutely fantastic. You're winning it with your starting pitching. Tonight, it was your offense. Right? 13 hits tonight for our Milwaukee Brewers en route to scoring 8 runs to get to 18 games over 500. And oh, by the way, the Cubs also winning tonight. So you're keeping the pressure on the Cubs. You're maintaining that pace with Chicago. You'll eventually see them a few days down the road now at American Family Field next week, to be exact. You had to do what you had to do tonight to win this ball game. It wasn't pretty. Freddy Peralta, as we mentioned, does get the win. And really outside the 3rd inning, Freddie was fine tonight, right? 5 innings pitched, 5 hits, 4 earned runs, struck out 4 batters as well. Freddie, he gets the win, 12-4 on the season for Freddy Peralta. Aaron Ashby making an appearance out of the bullpen. He would surrender 1 run. Nick Mears, Jared Koenig, Trevor McGill would end it for the Brewers. Not the greatest performance from Jared Koenig, and I sung his praise last night on the program. And tonight, just, again, this is a really, really good offense, the Los Angeles Dodgers. It's going to be really hard. The Brewers are now 5-0 versus the Dodgers. They've secured, obviously, the season series. They're en route to sweeping the series in LA tomorrow afternoon. You knew it was going to be a very, very tall and almost impossible task to tell this Brewers pitching staff, including the starting rotation and the bullpen, to have zeros across the board against this team like we saw in Milwaukee and like we saw last night in a 2-0 win. So you've got to tip your cap to the Los Angeles Dodgers. And I know Jared Koenig would like to have that inning back there in the 8th where he surrendered those back-to-back home runs to kind of make that a tighter game than it felt like. I'm curious if you're listening to the program, if tonight for you, because it felt like for me, I'm sitting here prepping for the show, and we'll get to your thoughts and your reactions coming up here shortly. Tonight for me, it felt like a playoff game. It felt like the crowd in LA thought it was a playoff game, like standing up on their feet, 2 outs in the 8th, 2 outs in the 9th, getting up on their feet, chanting Freddie Freeman's name at the plate there in the bottom of the 9th. If the Dodgers aren't aware, if Chicago's not aware, if Philly's not aware, name a team atop the NL outside of Milwaukee, that is, who are on pace right now to have the best record in the National League along with the Cubs. The Brewers are here, and they're here. Like they are not a team, and I can tell you this right now with certainty. They are a team right now that nobody wants to face in October. They're just not. And I know a lot of you still on the YouTube live chat, a lot of you in my Twitter mentions, a lot of my friends in my phone texting me, a lot of people still want that big trade. I don't know if the Brewers need to make that trade. I know I said it about a week ago, maybe a week and a half ago. I don't know if that trade's needed right now. Like, I don't want to screw anything up with this team. And we could talk about that as the show goes on, and we'll get to some of your thoughts and your reactions. But I'm sitting here watching this game, and I'm watching this team, and I'm thinking, would Suarez be nice in this lineup? Yes, on paper. Absolutely. But then what are you giving up for a guy like Suarez? What are you giving up for a bat in this lineup? I don't know right now if and this is why Matt Arnold gets paid the big bucks and why he does the job that he does. And he does it, in my opinion, in a fantastic way. I don't know if I could make a move right now if I'm Matt Arnold and the way this team is playing. 9 wins in a row. Not only are you one of the hottest teams in baseball, or the hottest team in baseball, but you have one of the best records in all of baseball outside of Chicago. And you've owned the Los Angeles Dodgers all year. So I don't know. It's a very tough situation that Matt Arnold's going to be in. I guarantee you the Brewers will be active as they always are. But it is a tough spot to be in. And I'm curious to get your reaction as it stands right now. After an 8-7 Brewers win, 13 hits, a couple of home runs from the bottom of the order. Freddy Peralta outside of that 3rd inning was pretty darn good. His 12th win of the year. Do you make a move? I don't know. I don't know. Right now, I do not think I make a move, as we now are talking about the 9th win in a row and possibly the 10th win, double digit in a row tomorrow. We are 3 wins away from George Webb burgers, guys. 3 wins away from those free burgers. Your thoughts, your reactions, your celebrations on the program coming up right after this. Today's Locked On Brewers postcast is brought to you by FanDuel. All those summer sports back in full swing, whether you're all about those baseball under the lights, golf on the green, or that high-stakes soccer action. FanDuel is the best way to make every game even more exciting. You're already following the action. Why not make it a little more thrilling? And with FanDuel, you can get in on the game while your friends are getting sunburned over there at Bradford Beach. New to FanDuel, today is the best time for you to sign up. You can bet just $5, and if that first $5 bet hits, you get $150 in bonus bets. $5 bet, let's see. The Brewers winning tomorrow might be one I'm taking because it's the hottest team in baseball. Things have been looking up for the Brewers. You got Jose Quintana on the mound against Clayton Kershaw. Should be a good one, but I don't know. Can the Brewers win 10 in a row? If you bet $5 on it, you could win $150 in bonus bets. Open the FanDuel app today or visit FanDuel.com to get started. Again, that is FanDuel.com. An 8-7 Milwaukee Brewers win today over the Dodgers in LA. Their 9th win in a row. The Brewers now 47-9 when they score 4 or more runs. Just to add to that, not only did they score more than 4 runs, scored 8 runs on 13 hits. Everybody in the lineup today had a hit for our Milwaukee Brewers. Every single person had a hit. That includes Jackson Chourio, who now has a 13-game hit streak. So good things offensively today for our Milwaukee Brewers. We have talked about those proverbial stars aligning, right? The offense being on the same page as the pitching, and the pitching being on the same page as the bullpen, and the bullpen being on the same page as the managerial decisions. it hasn't clicked yet. And this team is 18 games over 500, 58-40 on the season. Lots of reaction being poured in. Let's get to it as we begin with Jay Andrews, our everydayer. 9 in a row. You are absolutely right. 9 in a row, a fantastic performance. Sean over on YouTube. Ortiz with a little chef's kiss to end it. What a game. They just continue to find a way. How about Perkins? I believe it was Tom last night on the program was asking about Perkins and brought it up and was asking, are we going to see more of Perkins? I said we were going to. And when I saw the lineup, it's exactly what I kind of expected. And no Jake Bauers in. And Blake Perkins, obviously the switch hitting Blake Perkins, but what he brings to the left field, brings to the center field and allows Churio to kind of move over and still keep his bat in the lineup. And obviously Christian Yelich DH and when he can. I thought that was going to be the move going forward for our Milwaukee Brewers. It certainly was. Now, would that be different if Garrett Mitchell was here? Yes, but that's a hypothetical. So it's good depth. Once again, good roster building, Matt Arnold. Really good roster building, Matt Arnold. Our everydayer, Jason, we didn't deserve to lose this game at all today. Great work by our offense. Keep going and going. Good job, McGill. Yeah, Trevor McGill, 23 saves on the season. There was a point during probably May. I can't give you an exact date where it was a roller coaster with Trevor McGill. It was a roller coaster, and you weren't sure what you were going to get. And yes, he's in the top spot for saves throughout the National League, and you just. It was a roller coaster. You were biting your fingernails. You're on the edge of your seat, but he has really settled into that role and really become a staple. And for Trevor McGill, if you're watching his early appearance out on the mound, if it's the 9th or the 10th inning, whatever, he comes out. And if that curveball is landing early, you already can pencil it in. He's more times than not 95% going to get that save. Philip over on YouTube as well. Remember, guys, if you're over on YouTube, hit that subscribe button, hit that like button, get notified when we get live. Philip says, Ortiz doing whatever he can to stop a trade from happening. Great comment, because I just talked about it a minute ago. I just don't know right now if you can make a move. Like, I don't know if it's worth it. I just don't. You're one of the best teams in the National League. You're one of the best teams in all of Major League Baseball. You've won 9 in a row. You're bottom of the order, which we have been griping about it in April, in May, to do something, has done something. You go out and acquire Andrew Vaughn for Aaron Savali because you have a plethora of starting pitching. And I know everybody wants Suarez from Arizona, and I know everybody wants that big, powerful bat in the lineup, but you're still finding ways to win. And then you got to be, if you're Matt Arnold, the other, flip the pillow over. The other side of that pillow is whoever you give up, because if you're going to give up somebody for a bat, it's not going to be cheap, guys. It's not going to be cheap. Who are you giving up, and what does that do to your clubhouse? We saw it with Hader, and I know the writing was on the wall for Hader well before that trade deadline. And I don't know if that Brewers team would have done anything anyway, but you don't want to screw anything up in that clubhouse right now. And this has been a good problem to have when you talk about the plethora of starting pitching for our Milwaukee Brewers, because unfortunately, the reality is injuries are still there and can happen. So definitely don't want to be in Matt Arnold's shoes this week or next week. That's for sure. Cody, part of our everydayers. Freddy Peralta, I think, could have imploded more in that inning. Huge strikeout versus Pajes there. And think about this quick. 21 and 25. That was their record back on May 17th. That's what Cody is referring to 58 and 40. Absolutely, what a turnaround for this Milwaukee Brewers team. The best team in baseball, by the way, since that mark. So fantastic point there. Another everydayer, Jacob. That was an awesome back and forth game tonight. Let's go for the season sweep of the Dodgers tomorrow. First off, to me, this Brewers team's already set this is a statement series win coming out of the All-Star break. It was a statement series 6-game win streak going into a 7-game win streak, going into the All-Star break. They went 6-0 at American Family Field. And remember this, guys, if you rewind the tape a little bit, I got to pat myself a little bit on the back here. When Brandon Woodruff made that start in Miami, and that was a quirky series, right? They won 2 out of 3, but they weren't pretty. I said, put a bookmark in that series. I said, just slide a bookmark in there, because something clicked in that series. And it felt like it was a bigger series win than we gave ourselves credit for. Miami wasn't great, right? Win-loss record, but they were one of the hottest teams in baseball going into that series. And the Brewers found a way to win those games. And kind of what we've seen now in this 9-game win streak is kind of what they did in that series, right? Some big offensive numbers, some clutch hitting, some not so great offense, some really good pitching, some not really good pitching, some better offense. And it's been kind of an up and down, roller coaster back and forth. That series, again, go back, and the Brewers haven't lost since that series, by the way, now 9 in a row, including that Brandon Woodruff start Sunday, a couple Sundays ago in Miami. I mentioned it though. That was the series that I thought something clicked, and I can't put my finger on it. I can't tell you exactly what it is, but there was something there that happened in that series. Logan over on YouTube. I think the craziest part of this win is how well the Brewers offense battled back without Sal Frelick. Keep in mind, guys, that's right. Good point there by Logan. Sal Frelick on the IL to July 15th. He was batting .345 since taking that leadoff role. There is no lineup our Brewers cannot beat. Amen. I cannot argue with any of that because you are absolutely right. Every day or Nick, good team win. Get greedy and go for the sweep. Absolutely go for the sweep. Jose Quintana on the mound. Clayton Kershaw, which this version of Clayton Kershaw, very, very winnable game for our Brewers tomorrow. He says the Brewers have a better record than the 400,000 Dodgers. Yes, that it is kind of stunning to sit back and think about when you look at that lineup for LA. And tonight, Mookie not in the lineup for the Dodgers, poor Dodgers, but you have Ohtani, Will Smith, who's batting 400 at Dodger Stadium, Freddie Freeman, Teoscar Hernandez, Andy Pajes. Let's see. Miguel Rojas got slotted in at the bottom of the lineup tonight. Hyun Kim at second base. Loaded lineup for the Dodgers. And that's why I'm saying, I don't always know if a trade is needed. I don't know. And it's a question, again, it's debatable. And I understand where the need is for it. I understand where the want is for it. And come October, you're going to need that bat like we saw Pete Alonso do to us last October. And I understand all of that. I just don't know if I want to screw anything up chemistry-wise, as John kind of agrees with me here on the YouTube chat. No trades needed, messes with our chemistry. It's where I'm at. And I understand people will tell me numbers, of Joey Ortiz at second base. Did you see his defense tonight? First off, his bat was there. He's the player of the game tonight with the solo shot in the 8th. He got the scoring also started in the 3rd for our Brewers with a big 3rd inning. But Joey Ortiz's defense, don't sleep on Joey Ortiz's defense. It was also on display tonight. John over on the YouTube chat, Brewers just may not lose again. Yeah, that would be great. That would be fantastic because that means we would be celebrating a World Series title. Andrew over on YouTube, Brewers have brought up Miz, got Woody and Perkins back from the IL and Vaughn in a trade. Who else can add this much? And that's a great point. That is a great point because I understand half of what Andrew brings up isn't offense, right? But you're going to need Mizorowski in October. You're going to need Brandon Woodruff in October. It's going to be really hard. Whether you have a good bat or not, I'll take a better pitcher over a better bat in that specific matchup. And you have one of the best pitchers in baseball in Jacob Mizorowski. Brandon Woodruff, who's been an absolute stud since he put on the Brewers uniform, looks to be, gaining momentum as the season goes on. Blake Perkins has made it. Today, they finally got Blake Perkins out today. I think it was in the 5th or 6th inning. He got on base his first 2 at-bats, including a triple where he had eventually scored. This team is just doing the right things at the right time. They're starting to click, but it's not all there yet. And that's the scary thing if you're a non-Brewers fan, right? If you're a Chicago Cubs fan, and you're like, man, we're winning. We're doing good. We have one of the best offenses in baseball, and we still can't separate from the Brewers. Like, what is going on? And I just don't know right now if it's anything I want to screw up. And I understand you want to be greedy and you want to get rich. The rich are getting richer for the Brewers too. Like, we haven't even brought up Robert Gasser, who's on assignment now in Nashville for the Milwaukee Brewers after Tommy John last year. So I understand there's probably too many starting pitchers for where this Brewers team is going forward. And it would be nice to acquire a bat, but it's not going to be cheap. And I would be hesitant right now to make that trade for anybody. As D-Dubs over on YouTube, Brewers don't need a big trade. They need one more high leverage arm for the pen and a veteran utility guy with playoff experience for key moments. I would be all about that. I would be all about that, D-Dubs. I do like that. That's going to be a lot less of a cost than than a guy like because everybody tells me about him every single show about Suarez. It would be a lot less to fork over for him, but we'll see. Dan over on YouTube had such an ominous feeling when Peralta walked their number 9. Glad the offense was able to give him a win. It felt good because it was a resilient offense today for the Brewers, right? Yes, they scored 4 in that third, but then the Dodgers responded, but then the Brewers did it right back, and they continued to fight. Every time the Dodgers scored, the Brewers scored. Every single time, minus those 2 solo shots in the 8th where the Brewers didn't score anything in the top half of the 9th. It was a resilient performance from our Milwaukee Brewers, and it felt good because there's been times, and how many times have we as Brewers fans, I mean, you go all the way back, Ben Sheets days if you want, for those that are old enough, and I don't want to even make that sound like it's a long time ago, because it certainly isn't, but you go back to the Ben Sheets era and you're like, man, this guy throws 7-8 innings and gets 1 or 2 runs. How many times have we seen Freddy Peralta do that and just doesn't get any run support? So for him to not have his best stuff in that 3rd inning tonight, but able to kind of stretch it to the 5th inning. But the big thing with Freddie is just the high counts. I mean, it's always kind of been his Achilles heel really since since 2018, but really this year it's kind of been emphasized more. And you go to that 3rd inning for Freddy Peralta. And this was the frustrating point. I put it on my X account at Brandon_Snide. You had the number 9 hitter up. You had him at a 1-2 count and you walked him. And that was and that's what got things going. Would Shohei Ohtani probably hit a home run? He's eventually going to snap out of his funk. Maybe he does, maybe he doesn't. But it was frustrating because that was an avoidable 2-run home run from Freddy Peralta. So he kind of buries himself at times in some of these games, but he was able to quickly get out of that inning. 4 runs when you had guys on 2nd and 3rd with less than 2 outs and to escape that without letting those guys cross the plate, I thought was huge, a big point in this game. And to hold that to a 4-4 game, I thought was huge. Charles over on YouTube, the lack of power has hurt this team in the postseason that last couple of years. The pitching is so good in the playoffs, it's tough to string 5 hits together. I understand the lack of power, and I completely I was just on this very program a week and 2 weeks ago. I think it might have been before the All-Star break, where I was like, they get a power bat, a consistent power bat. Like, this is a World Series team, guys. It's a World Series team. And I understand that was just a week and a half ago, but you don't expect to then rattle off, a handful more wins after that and get up to 9 and where things where, yeah, they don't have a powerful bat. They don't have that big bopper in the lineup per se. I still think they have the ability to. I think Jackson Chourio can do it. I think William Contreras can do it. Christian Yelich has done it in the past. I don't know if he can still do it, but I feel like it's still kind of there. Like the potential is there. And I know we don't want to speak on potential and we don't want to have it be about potential. And we want, an actual piece in that lineup that we can count in, day out. I just don't know if the cost is worth it right now. When you've won 9 in a row and everything has sort of kind of worked in your favor, right? Caleb Durbin has been a big piece of this resurgence for this Milwaukee Brewers team since June 12th. His numbers are actually better than Suarez out of Arizona. My good buddy Dom Catronio had those numbers on his X account. So it's interesting to see. I understand why people want that bat, because I certainly do as well. But the Brewers are 47-9, guys, when they score 4 or more runs. You don't need a powerful bat to score 4 or more runs a game. I think this team can handle it. Again, what you have to give up to get that bat would be the one thing that scares me right now, because if I'm Matt Arnold, I just don't want to screw anything up chemistry-wise. John over on YouTube, Brewers in a unique spot. Since we are the hottest with pitching, we can scam a team with our depth. I don't, yes and no. As Nestor Cortez, but I don't think I don't think the Brewers have a ton of leverage with him right now. First off, we haven't seen a ton of Nestor Cortez this season. Number 2, what's that injury like? Is he going to be able to maintain his health going forward, or is a team just looking to dump a salary? I mean, that's something that's going to have to be answered, obviously, as we go on through the trade deadline. John over on YouTube, couple more of your comments and we'll start to wrap things up here on the Locked On Brewers postcast. Brewers are stringing hits together. This team under Murphy is special. Don't mess with it. Siegler needs a chance. It's another guy that the Brewers, really believe in. And the Brewers have more down in Nashville and Biloxi. Like, Jesus Mate, still a name, Pena, still a name that these guys are. I don't know if the Brewers want to mess with anything and ship off any of their prospects. It's a tough spot to be in for Matt Arnold. It's a good spot to be in because it means you're competitive and you're not sellers and you have an opportunity to get into, the ultimate goal. But boy, is it a tough spot. It certainly is a tough spot. But it's not a tough spot. Is this Milwaukee Brewers team tomorrow, because they can go for the sweep. It's all gravy tomorrow, baby. You win tomorrow, you sweep the LA Dodgers in the season series. I do not think any of us, including myself, had that on our bingo card. What a fantastic turnaround for our Milwaukee Brewers since May 17th. The best mark in baseball, the hottest team in baseball. Their 9th win in a row. They haven't had a win streak over 8 games since 2 years ago. So they had a couple of 8-game win streaks now, but now they have extended that to 9 with the 8-7 win. Freddy Peralta getting the win. Issac Collins with some big hits. Freddy Peralta, 5 innings pitched, did give up those 4 runs, but Joey Ortiz bails him out in the 8th inning with what proved to be the reason that Brewers team were able to get out of this one with an 8-7 win. Trevor McGill getting his 23rd save of the season. As always, my thanks to all of you for always tuning into the Locked On Brewers postcast. Remember, wherever you get podcasts, you can get this very program as well. If you just go on YouTube and type in Locked On Brewers, hit that subscribe button for me. Do me a huge favor, hit that thumbs up, drop a comment, drop a thought. I read all of them. We'll get to all of them. And you can follow me on X at Brandon_Snide. My name, of course, in the X account is Brandon Snide. I appreciate each and every one of you. And as always, man, it has felt so good over these last 9 games to say this. Win, lose, or draw, it certainly always feels better after a win. And it feels even better after 9 straight wins. And we'll talk about number 10 tomorrow after the Brewers take on the Dodgers in Game 3. We'll talk to you guys tomorrow. Have a good one, and thank you as always. See you.